Hello there, Hero Club. I am Wheelchair 21, and joining me as my co-host is other site founder and co-owner Soundout 12. But this is a huge interview. We don't usually have two guests. We rarely ever have two guests. It's Tom and Dorothy Fahn.
Woo!
And you probably all best know them for doing a lot of Saban brands, Bandai Entertainment dubs, Bang Zoom dubs. There's like a whole list of stuff on there, and we're going to try to condense it down for everyone here. We got probably at least an hour or so, so we're going to try to make sure we get through as much as we can, and if we have room for anything else, we'll try to sneak in some other random ass questions about just the
entertainment. Can we refer to you both as Billy and Michael, or do you want us to call you?
Oh, it's fine. No, we know our usernames are usually just the handles. It's fine for us. We don't.
Since we're just starting, I think it's the Billy and Michael show. Oh yeah. Woo!
That's kind of like what happens with most interviews. If it's not me and him, it's him and our friend Jesse.
I really like the Agumon over there, the Agumen on Michael's back. And here's some fan art that was given to me recently at a convention. Someone just brought that to me. I love the fan art, man. Mm-hmm. We're so happy.
Now, was that from the Alamo Con, or was that from another con?
This was in Phoenix. We did something in Phoenix. Okay. I know them as the cities. There's a helicopter going by. That's kind of interesting. I know them from the cities, and Dorothy remembers the con names. I remember no con names.
It was Sabaton Con.
Does he hear that? See it right there? Yeah, that's why this works. And I remember the city. But may I say, Billy, we remember meeting you in Pasadena.
Morphicon.
You handsome devil. And Michael, we just met, and he's got a nice low Barry White.
Nice voice.
Kind of a Stallone. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember on the first day of the convention, you guys were like on the first strip of guests. And I remember, like, I was looking through for certain people. My intention was find the people that worked on the Ultraman dubs recently, as well as anyone who worked with Digimon, and then start moving my way into the Rangers part of the fandom. And lo and behold, you're just right there. And I'm like, oh, hey, there you guys are.
And your life has not been the same.
Pretty much. I mean, it's changed for the better. It's got some Guyver there. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because
I went to a convention. I went to a convention, I think it was North Carolina, and this guy goes, oh, dude, I brought this for you. He brought one for me, and then I signed one for him. I'm like, oh, where'd you get this? He goes, oh, I made it. Like 3D.
Yeah, it looks very custom printed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3D printed. Pretty great.
Incredible.
Anyway.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, too, when I went to find you, is Bruno Patrick had told me to go search you guys out, too, because he had done the convention with you guys just, I think, a month prior. At Robo Toy Fest or whatnot. It was you guys with Jackson.
So you guys who remember the Guyver always blow me away, because the Guyver is the first VO we did in anime about 91, 92. None of you guys were born. And the guy, it was referred to as Japanimation back then. Okay. Yeah. And the Guyver was the first thing we did, very violent. And then they made a live action movie around the same time. The lead actor, he was at the Pasadena.
He was there.
What's his name?
Yeah, he was Jack. Jack Armstrong.
Yeah, Jack, handsome devil Jack. And then Bruno Patrick, who you met, was at he was in the second live action Guyver movie, and we were all together and did a Guyver
did a Guyver
panel.
Yeah.
Which has never been done before, of all the different, because I didn't even know there were live action movies. So but anyway, the Guyver was the beginning for me. But back to you, Billy and Michael.
Yeah, because I remember when we met, too, another thing I brought up was how you never met any of the other Guyver anime from 2005 ones. But then when I was mentioning names, Dorothy, you said you had worked with some of the voice actors on other projects, though. Yeah. You said briefly. And that.
Yeah, we go way back. We're referred to as, I told you earlier in the pre-interview, we're referred to as OGs, original gangsters, or I see it as old-timers. So, just people who have been at it for a long time, but we're very happy
it's
on your podcast.
Wild, because I'm one of those guys where even though I was born in the 90s, I Soundout knows this on his streams. Whenever we talk about anything that's a 80s or 70s anime, or one that was even older than that Saban or other companies distributed, myself and our other friend and co-host on podcasts and sites, Fighter Cows Jerry, we're called the Boomer anime fans. We're like, the guys were like, you guys never heard of Grimm's Fairy Tales?
You might be onto something, because we were just at a convention and someone came up to us and said they preferred the 90s anime. They said the acting, they said, now this is I don't begrudge any actor getting a job. It's hard to get an acting gig. But they said there's something in the acting that they hear in the 90s, they don't hear. But anyway.
I get that. No, I do get that because I love a lot of late 80s to early 2000s because even though it's a lot of the same familiar voices through the companies, the difference was there was a bit of range for some actors, or at least the voice casting matched at times, whereas a lot of animes now, if they're not done by Funimation, if they're not done by Viz, they usually will get just a lot of random people like Netflix. They'll get actual old-timers, new people, and then they'll have a director who doesn't know who has the right tone to fit which voice.
Well, it's interesting.
So you'll have a character.
The other person was telling us he could tell that, all of us back then, we all started in the theater.
Yeah.
And we didn't know we were going to do voiceover. And there's an old saying, the best actors are the ones who come from the theater because it all starts from the theater, and then we found our way to VO. A lot of people now are just voice actors
because want to jump right in
they just want to jump in
do voices.
And
so I always tell them you should take an acting class, at least one acting class before you jump in, because it will open your mind and your world to that voice acting is acting.
But we're going off the rails, Billy and Michael.
We're at least touching on some of our questions.
Hammer it.
For sure. Because one of the things that we always ask is, like, what was the reason you guys got into the entertainment industry? Like, what was the catalyst or what was the influence that really enamored both of you into wanting to become actors or entertainers?
I grew up in New York and she grew up in Los Angeles, but our stories are somewhat similar. You go.
Well, no, I didn't want to be an actor at first. When I was a kid, some people like you wanted to be an actor from a very young age. I wanted to be an artist. I drew. That was my thing. But I always tell this story when people ask me at conventions. They would give me the leads in the elementary school plays because they knew I was good at memorization. I could remember the lines. So, but by the time I got to high school and started doing musicals, that's when I really started loving it. And that's when I knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to act.
And what were some of the musicals you were in, Dorothy? Go ahead, tell the people.
Oh, my God. My Fair Lady.
Eliza Doolittle, come on.
What's That Story?
Maria, come on.
The Fantastics.
Try to remember the song.
Yeah. A bunch of it.
But she started. So I grew up with a big, loud, wacky family in New York. My dad was a drummer, and the first time I was ever on stage was I have an older brother, little sister, and there's four of us, and we were like my dad's crew. So he was doing a drum gig, a 4th of July gig in the park on the stage, and then he gives us a signal when the gig is over because he needs help. The drummer always needs help carrying. He's got so much stuff, cymbals and hi-hats, and so I'm on stage like holding the drum, and I'm looking out the audience. I'm like, ooh, this is a nice point of view. I like it. But I was a TV junkie when I was a kid, and
that's all we had.
And I'm going way back when there was maybe 7 channels. And if you missed The Wizard of Oz during Thanksgiving week, didn't they show it Thanksgiving week?
Channels. Yeah,
if you missed it, it wasn't on for another year.
Didn't see it till
if you
next
missed
year.
Charlie Brown Christmas,
then
you're not talking about it in school the next day because you're like, oh, I missed it, But I was a TV-aholic, and I watched everything: cartoons, game shows, talk shows, variety shows, everything. And then we went to a Broadway show living in New York, and I saw this going on. And I'm like, these grown men, grown people acting like kids. And I'm like, oh, I see. So this somehow it connected that this was all acting. And I wanted to be in the box. I wanted to, how do I get in that team? And then someone told me it's being an actor. So then I just, when I was a teenager, I saw 2 performances that made me want to be an actor. De Niro in Godfather 2 playing young Vito Corleone, and Al Pacino in Dog Day Afternoon. If you've ever seen that movie, it's like a ride.
Both of those performances
must be seen. I was like, I want to do what they're doing. I want to make people feel the way they're making me feel now. I don't know if Agumon. Hey, what's going on? Come on, Michael. Hey, what's up, Billy?
Agumon.
You know, I just wanted to be an actor. I didn't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna go right into quoting Godfather in the Agumon voice, and I was gonna be dead.
Hey,
I was.
Hey, keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer. Attica. I didn't know. So we're all film fanatics and TV fanatics and Broadway fanatics. I mean, I didn't know that it would lead me to voiceover. Yeah. I just wanted to act, and so that's where we met. Maybe you're gonna ask. Do you want me to tell you how we met? So
I mean, yeah, because I'm assuming you guys met.
So we met
during or before the Saban brands.
We met in college. We went to Cal State Long Beach. My family had moved to California. I always wanted to be an actor. I met this cutie patootie. We were both freshmen, and we were cast in a scene together where I had to, kiss her stage. I think this was the kiss, like you. Well, that was pretty good actually, but that was better than years ago because I was so afraid. I'm not the guy who gets those parts, But we liked each other, but it took me forever to ask her out because I used to say we should go here, we should go there. Hey, we should go here. Yeah, she corners me. When? And I go, yep. So I, got her number. So we were freshmen and we got married after college and moved to LA.
But we were married in 85.
We got married in 85. None of you were born.
Japanimation didn't start coming in until years after that. There was nothing.
We just moved to LA.
Anime, no Toonami, nothing.
We moved to LA. We continued doing theater. I got an agent auditioning for commercials. Mm-hmm. She got an agent auditioning for commercials, and then I've told this before, but I have to give him credit, Victor Garcia. So my survival job was working for a film company, Empire Films. They made Reanimator and From Beyond.
Classics.
Those are their two cult favorites. And I was just
I actually love both those movies.
Yeah, right. So really I'm just delivering. I'm delivering film all over LA. That's my job. And every now and then I stop to get something to eat. And then when you get back, they're like, "Where were you?" And you're like, "Oh, I was in traffic." That's the LA line. When you need to run an errand. I was in traffic. But anyway, there was another. We were working for a wonderful guy named Victor Garcia, who was also an actor. He ran the mailroom, and Victor's one of the biggest things he did on camera. He played Edward James Olmos' son in
Stand and Deliver.
Deliver,
he was actually,
which is a film about a great LA school teacher. He plays his son in it. Anyway, Victor is my boss, and the other guy I'm working with is a guy named Steve. And Steve and I, whenever we were in the parking lot, we were both delivering film. I would see him, and for some reason, and I think I was 26 and he was 26, I would see Steve in the parking lot at Empire Films, and I go, "Hello, Steve. How the hell are you?" And he'd go, "Hello, Tommy. How are you?" And we were old Jews, and I don't know why. It was just screwing around to try and get through the day.
Yeah.
Cut to about 3-4 years later in '91, Victor Garcia is where none of us are working there, and Victor calls me, goes, "I'm now producing Japanimation." And we're gonna
what's that?
And I don't know whether he goes.
Cartoons from Japan.
Do you remember Speed Racer?
Okay.
Do you remember what's the one?
Kimba the White Lion.
Yeah. He goes. Those were actually early Japanimation.
Oh, okay.
So now there's a new wave coming, and we just need actors to do voices. I need you. I need Dorothy. I need your sister Melissa. I need your brother Jonathan, because we're all actors.
He's like, "Yeah. Do you think that you'd be interested?" And we're like, "Yeah, sounds like fun."
Yeah. Get paid to do voiceovers. Sounds great. And he goes, and I'm bringing Steve in too. So Steve is Steve Blum.
Okay, when that story, I was like, the plot twist is Guyver 3. It's the so like as soon as you kept saying Steve,
we
I was like, it's the plot twist.
God bless Steve Blum, because he gives it on his website. He mentions this. We all started together on the Guyver, and Victor Garcia, wonderful guy, I talked to him yesterday. Yeah. He kind of got us going. That was the road. We were recording at a place called The Cave, and then we were recording at a place called Magnitude 8. And we started to see tons of actors there. Then it became everybody. And then from there, we went to, we got the call to do Saban. We to do Power Rangers, to do voices on Power Rangers. And if you were on Power Rangers for Saban, you got to read for Digimon. Even though we didn't know what it was.
That led to Digimon,
and
which became huge.
That's a good time for me to show you a shirt I'd never worn before.
Okay.
Oh,
Closet throughout your Christmas.
that's perfect.
Merry Christmas, fellas. Anyway, I never got to wear that. I don't know when you're running this, but maybe you'll run it in the holiday season.
It's gonna be mid-December for sure,
Yeah.
because usually it takes us a month out.
Right.
That's a little
on the
bit of
side.
how we met and how we got started. But you guys go, fire it at us. Let's
Yeah,
hear
no. What was interesting was when you were bringing that up, because as you said, the influx really happened around 86 or not 90, right around there. Because obviously, like you said, there was Speed Racer, there was Gigantor, which was Tetsujin 28. Because Voltron kind of came in, Transformers was adapting, GoBots was adapting Japanese media, at least in 84. But
Right.
the real kind of boom with like Saban doing all the fairy tale stuff, Pinocchio, Cinderella, the Grimm's fairy tales.
You know, I wish
all
a
that
wonderful guy was alive. He passed away. His name was Kevin Seymour, and he produced
great.
all of this. Who did we work for? Who was his company? Oh,
Animes.
And Les Claypool and Mary Claypool were the engineers at Magnitude 8. And if you're lucky enough to go to a convention where they're at, go to their. They tell a story at how it kind of started. I'm trying to get them to make a documentary about this.
Got it.
Now,
Early
Les
90s.
Claypool, as in the actual musician, right?
Not the rock and
Not the
roller
rock and
Les
roller.
Claypool.
Okay.
There's another Les Claypool married to Mary Claypool, and they were the engineers, and they adapted a lot of the scripts for Guyver, Orgus, Macros. What are the early ones? Ghost in the Shell. These are like
Saber, Marionette, Jay. Crazy.
Robo. There was all this early stuff before Saban, even for us.
Yeah.
What was the company called? Do you remember?
I don't
Because
know.
Harmony Gold was the ones who had a lot of the Robotech stuff, which a lot of Saban brand guys came from Harmony Gold. Because Barbara was there.
I'm trying to remember the
Axelrod,
VHS.
Kramer.
The VHS we
Kerrigan.
had.
The VHS tape with the logos on it. Yeah.
They have. I thought I had them out here the other day.
Where'd you put
So I
them?
just found a box of them. Where did I put that
It
box?
just sounds like me and Sound Out with our collection. Like, where did you put this thing?
Well, you know, at conventions, you guys, the Billies and the Michaels of the world, know way more about our careers than we can remember. And I've signed VHSs. I've signed Guyver. Oh, this one guy in England sent me a package of Guyver cells, like original.
Actual cells.
It's crazy.
It's like amazing.
Whatever. Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, you guys even signed a wheelchair. That's how crazy you get stuff to sign. I mean,
a handsome devil named Billy comes wheeling up to me. I'm like, look at you. Look at you. You
you guys are like, what is this? What's this round thing? What is this? As Michael Sorge likes to call it, it's a toilet seat cover.
Buddy, Michael Sorge, buddy, come on, buddy.
Him. He would definitely say that.
Michael, he's crazy because I remember I was in 2018 looking for him, and he was never at his own booth. He never sat down. He never. So when I went to the convention that you guys were at, he was always at his booth that year for the recent one. So he was there.
The entertainment industry and the voiceover industry and the anime voiceover industry and video game industry is very like any other business. Everybody knows everyone. I don't know a lot of the young guns now. I'm meeting a lot of them at the conventions, you know, because we've been around. But like Michael Sorge and Richard Epcar and Jeff Nimoy and Colette and Lex and Sandy and
Steve Kramer,
Richard and Ellen
Kurt
and
Thornton.
Steve Bloom and Mary Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I mean, we all
the old guard.
we all go
know
way
each other.
back.
Yeah.
And we bump into each other at conventions now. But Sorge is the salt of the earth. We love him. Like
We love him.
we've done
we've
done Thanksgiving with him. He's a great friend.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, when I had to hunt him down in 2018, the way I hunted him down was pretty funny. Me and Sound Out hit it off with the VR Troopers cast, and they said, we'll hold him down for you because he's going to be at our panel. They're just like, come here. Like he tried to leave right as soon as they're like, no, you don't. This kid's been looking for you. They were like, hold him. Like Brad Hawkins and Michael Hollander are like, you get back here. No, get over here. You're signing this kid's wheelchair.
Both of you guys we're in West LA. Are you guys both in LA? You're in LA, Billy. Are you in LA, Michael?
No, I'm New York.
Oh, where are you?
I'm okay. So I'm actually I don't care. This is not really doxing. I live upstate New York.
Oh yeah, it's
I'm in the Hudson Valley area.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm in a small town, like outside of, like, most people know New Paltz because of the community college.
Right.
I'm like near New Paltz.
What are you like? Rye, Florida, Rome, Oneonta? What are we talking?
No,
Saratoga?
it's like so small. Like
I love it.
it's I'll say the name. I'll say the name. It's called Kerhonkson, and it was
love it.
formerly the capital during, I believe, the French Indian War, because when
Oh my
Albany and Kingston
And
got
I didn't know
attacked during the
that.
French
It's
Indian War,
amazing.
Kerhonkson became
So
the
when you
temporary
were-
capital.
I didn't know that. When you were out here, you were visiting. You came out for the
Yes.
convention.
Yeah. No, I
Wow.
came all the way out for the convention,
I love
and
it.
and found out he's actually from New Mexico, but born in Iceland.
Oh wow.
And
Whoa.
are you in New Mexico now?
I was born in Iceland because my dad was military, and then we moved here to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I am now.
Wow,
God,
that's
this is
amazing.
fantastic. Well, thank
Yeah,
you. I love
most
that
of our
we have
staff is all
way
over.
way more questions, but I want to thank you all for making the time to see us. This is so
Yeah.
great, man.
Yeah, no, like straight on. Like most of our staff is, I think, mostly East Coast sound out, majority,
Yeah.
and then there's a few in the mountain area, and then the rest are like in Canada, Vancouver.
I'm originally,
cool.
I was born in Queens, and I grew up in
My dad's Queens.
I grew up in Huntington, Long Island, New York, and my folks were from Brooklyn. And this is the LA girl who loves New York. We all love New
it.
York,
I
especially
could
this
totally
time of
live
year.
there.
But we're always when we talk to our anime agents, we always go, hey, anything back east, anything in the tri-state area,
Yeah.
because we got so many
Yeah.
friends and relatives,
Yeah.
that it's fun. I heard from an actor the other day. He goes, oh, dude, I'm doing a Long Island anime convention. I'm like, what?
Can we get a Long Island anime?
Yeah, no, that would
I
be
wanna do
pretty
that.
cool.
Oh my god.
Keep going.
What's funny
Yeah.
too is off tangent real fast because my leg is killing me.
Sorry.
One of the funniest stories is I met Barbara for the first time back in like 2012, and I'm talking to her, and
Barbara
she looks at me and goes, "Barbara Goodson, yeah."
Yeah.
And Barbara is trying to figure out where I'm from because she says to me, she goes, "You have a very awkward New York accent." And I go,
Oh,
"Wait,
she heard
how do
it.
you know I'm from New York?" And she's like, "You're a New Yorker. I'm from New York." And she goes, "You're upstate, but you talk like you're in the city." And so she's trying to figure out. She's like,
Wow.
"Where are you from? What borough?" She's like,
Wow.
"You're from the city, right?" I'm like, "No, my family's from the city. I'm from upstate." And she's like, "Okay, but which borough is that?"
Some people have such a
That's
good ear.
insane.
Years ago, someone came up to me and said, "You're from New York. You're from Long Island. You're from the North Shore." I'm
Oh
like,
my god.
"What are you, Kreskin?
Yeah.
How do you? What do
Yeah,
you?
no,
How do you know that?"
it was just wild. It was just wild how Barbara like was able to profile like my accent because she's like, which part of New York are you? Because I didn't even tell her I was
That's
from New
amazing.
York. She
So,
was just like, "Hi, how are you? What's your name?"
so we were working for Magnitude 8 in the 90s, and that led us to Power Rangers, where I got beat up on many episodes of
Yeah.
Power Rangers. A lot of And the great thing about Power Rangers is when you're voicing the characters that are wearing masks, you don't got to worry about the sync.
No sync.
You know what I'm
Woo,
saying? The
yeah.
vocal. So it can be loosey goose, which is great.
Now, since you brought up Power Rangers, I gotta ask.
Yeah.
I know your filmography lists you for doing VR Troopers, Beetleborgs, Power Rangers. Dorothy, I don't recall. Did you ever actually do
Yeah.
voices on the show, or did you just do the anime that he adapted? Because I don't see it credited on some of
No,
your
I did
filmography.
like additional voices on Power Rangers live action. A lot of screaming, a lot of Walla.
The Walla groups.
I think I even did a little of the narration for like the next episode or whatever. Maybe that little stuff, but I got no credit for anything.
Do you guys know? You can add your credit for that. Do you guys know what Walla is? Walla groups, loop groups.
We should explain it for the audience. at
That's
home.
when they get
Yeah.
they get a bunch of actors to do the
The
voice
voices of the people in the background.
for the crowd.
Like if
Okay.
you're in a restaurant,
Yeah.
you're talking about, oh, the steak is so tough or whatever. You know, you're just making
wait,
up.
Wait a minute. Steak? Wait. Oh, it's almost dinner time.
I know, my
well,
stomach's growling.
Walla, the term Walla, a little film for you. When sound came in 1927, in the 30s, they would like if Humphrey Bogart would have a scene at the bar, they tell everybody in the background to just say Walla. Walla, 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 Walla. So
Okay, yeah, the typical.
now
making-
it's like
Yeah.
an art. They want you. Okay, Tom, you're the guy in the back talking to and it's just improving really low, like, hey,
Mhm.
what's going on?
Yeah.
That Billy and Michael, nice people. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want it to stand out too much.
And then they take it and they way, you know,
they bring it so low. It's just like a bed of incomprehensible sound. But they want it to be specific when you record.
So a lot of times, even to this day, we'll do. It's always a 2-hour session, right? And you don't know what part you're playing, right? When I worked on JoJo, which is a long way from Agumon.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, what's going on? JoJo's like over the top insanity. I played some Psycho, and at the end of the episode, maybe this isn't a good example because I was pretty thrashed. But if they have a little, they'll go, "Do you have anything? Can you do Walla for like a couple of loops?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." And they go, "It's 40 seconds." So then they roll it, and you're just like, "Hey, what's and it's you by yourself, talking, and they just want it to like every couple seconds go, "Hey, what are you doing? And what about that Billy?"
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen him.
Just and then they mix it all together.
They just mix. If every actor who goes in, 10 actors does 40 seconds of Walla, they mix it together, and you've got the background. So that's just a little something for you guys. A little added bonus there.
All right. So, like you said, how you got to Saban Brands. What was at least the atmosphere like when working on Saban Brands before we started going into like
I remember,
Digimon and stuff?
So for Power Rangers, there was a wonderful director named Scott Page Pachter who has passed away. He was wonderful. Give him credit. Yeah. And it was out in Valencia at the actual studio where they were shooting the Power Rangers, filming. So that was a nice studio. But then it moved to Saban on Wilshire, and that's where I met Wendy Lee and Jeff Nimoy and Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. And you would go for, like, say, a session for Digimon. It would just be me. Ty, Joshua Seth. Hey, man, it's me. It's me, Josh. I'm trying to work on my Joshua Seth. Hey, Tom, what's going on, man? Joshua.
Yeah, you record separately in anime, one person at a time.
I don't know if you guys know that, but like, so if I show up to do Agumon, it's just me.
Yeah.
And headphones and the director and the engineer. Yeah. And if Joshua has recorded Ty, I can go back and forth with him. But if he hasn't recorded, then I'm laying it down, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know with anime it became more easier to just do one session at a time.
Yeah.
Some shows would still try to do the actual studio recordings, but I know anime really stopped doing that because I know was it like Beast Wars and Reboot tried to do.
Yeah, if you're doing like original animation like The Simpsons, it's like a radio play. There's no picture yet. So everyone is just reading off the script, playing off of each other, and they record the whole thing.
It's actually a lot easier.
It's so much easier.
That way.
So much easier. But since anime is a finished product, and you have to sync to picture, if you had everybody trying to sync to their character at the same time, every take would get screwed up. Okay, let's do it. So it's just, we have to do it one at a time.
Why don't you give them, and the Saban building on Wilshire was a beautiful building. It was a beautiful facility.
Great studio.
They treated you great. You'd be in and out in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
But the thing, at the height of Digimon, and isn't it 25 years of Digimon this year?
I think
1999.
Something like that.
At the height of Digimon, 1999, 2000, 2001, I didn't really know. We didn't have a kid yet. We've since had one, but she's already grown up. Life goes so fast. But we didn't really know like how popular it was, because you're in the booth.
No idea.
And you do it, and they pay you a little money, and you go on to the next gig, Yeah. But my cousin Heidi called me from New York. She had little kids, and she's like, "Oh yeah, we bought your toy." I'm like, "What?" Yeah, we bought your Agumon toy, which I since have here in the closet.
Yeah,
somewhere.
we were like, "What toy?"
I'm like, "Well, what toy?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, it's definitely your voice." You push the button and you hear you like, "Hey, what's going on, Pepper Breath?" So
and we're like, "Wow."
They had, I don't know, is there a statute of limitations? Will I get in trouble for this?
No.
So they had lifted. You've probably heard this. They had lifted. Digimon was so popular that they had taken a couple of characters, lifted the voice from finished anime that we did,
plugged it into a toy,
and put it in a toy, put it out, and didn't tell the actors.
Just tell us.
So I told my manager, and he shook him down for some money, and then every actor got paid.
I mean, come on, that doesn't sound like a Saban story I've ever. No.
Okay.
Like every Saban story
I don't know if you guys ever read the book by the X-Men writers. They tell stories of how.
Oh, okay. Well, there's my Funko Pop for Agumon, which what is faulted, so it's hard to find. But if you see us at a convention, like we were at a convention the other day, and there's always at least one person that brings one. I'm like, where'd you get it? And they're like, dude, it was hard to find. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
But
like I had to sell my wife and kid on eBay for it. Come on.
Well, please tell them maybe something about playing Lilymon or Rosemon or Ty's mom, or give them a Digimon story.
I gotta say, the fact that you're Rosemon is still probably like the funniest thing probably to you, because like she's like seen as like, other than Angemon, like a sex symbol for some reason.
Well,
Yeah, yeah, she is.
Right? But I was just really happy because I was cast as Ty's mom. I didn't even audition for Ty's mom. They just gave it to me because of the sound of my voice.
Can Michael and Billy, can they hear a little bit of Ty's mom?
No. Ty, I love you. That's Ty's mom. But I was really happy that I got to play Lilymon and her Digivolution into Rosemon, because most people, their character would Digivolve and some other actor would take now the Digivolution, right? But
What's that sound like?
It sounds like Lilymon Digivolve to Rosemon. So, and I got to do both of them. So that was great.
Yeah, because we actually had that as a later question too. Because
that was one of our questions.
One of our questions we wanted to ask you was, because in Data Squad you're like Tamers onwards, so from Tamer season 3, and you're one of the more reoccurring in a main role. What was it like realizing that the first 2 seasons you guys got to switch, and then Data Squad you're literally Lalamon, who becomes all the way to Rosemon as well? So like for you had that whole, wow, I didn't get to do this in the first go around.
No, I know. It was crazy because I did Lalamon, Lilamon, Sunflamon, Harpymon, shoot me. I hated that.
Why?
And we got to do Babamon and Gigimon.
Oh, it was bad. The Harpymon was it probably wrecked your voice, right?
It did.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, Harpymon. I agreed to do it. And so not knowing that doing that character for 2 hours straight I lost my voice for a week.
What is it? Is that the one that just goes, ah?
Yeah. Like,
the whole,
Because wasn't Harpymon Tamers? I think Harpymon was an episode of Tamers.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Oh, look at those.
Oh yeah, that's another question. Because we were unaware of guys.
You got a lot of nerve, woman.
Since we asked earlier when you guys got together, we were unaware when you guys got together, because we were like, did they start dating around this time? Was that an intro?
They cast you as those 2 parts because you were already.
It all goes to Mary Elizabeth McGlynn.
She cast us as
She
Babamon and
knew
Digimon.
us, and she said, I got a part coming up of an old married couple fighting. I want you and Dorothy to do it as Billy Crystal and Carol Kane in
From Princess Bride.
and it'll be a hoot. And people remember
and it was super fun.
Yeah, no, it went over my head when watching it, but then as I was sitting there looking at your filmography, I'm like, I gotta ask them, how does it tie in with their relationship? Because we were unaware how long you guys been together. Because
well, I don't want to tell you, but I don't want to tell you because that would date us. But 39 years last week.
39 years.
Because what's funny is
child bride.
What's funny? Because what was funny about it was because you always credited yourself. But early on you always use Fahn as your
we had
credit name. So I was like, were they already dating? Was it just?
Yeah.
They're running from the law.
Yeah, I would like to take this moment to salute our most recent fan art that we got. Where were we last weekend?
Where were we?
San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego.
What was it called? The convention?
I don't remember.
No, you always remember the name.
San Diego Anime Con.
Yeah,
ooh, that was a tough one.
Atta girl. So this girl comes up to us. She meets us. Then she walks away and comes back like a half hour later, maybe 15 minutes later, and she gives Dorothy that. Make sure they can see it.
There's a Conan, a Chihiro, and a little tiny Tsumugi on the top. So beautiful. Look at that.
And then she gives me this.
Okay, that Guyver is well too detailed. That's amazing.
And
That's amazing.
And Crablante. Anyway, and her name.
I don't remember that role. I don't remember.
Her name was Khan. So Khan. CAHN.
Yeah.
And our last name is FAHN. So I said my cousin. So anyway, she was very sweet. Anyway, all right, what do we got? We're on Digimon, late 90s.
So for Digimon Data Squad, in Japan they had a movie for the Japanese version, but it never got dubbed into English. Did you hear anything about that, or do you know any reason why they didn't, go ahead and dub that movie?
Well,
but they don't tell us anything.
Yeah, that was the thing.
They do not tell us anything.
You get.
We're the last to know.
You get an email saying, we'd like you to come in. Sometimes they don't even tell you the part you're playing.
Just come in.
And you find all you do it all when you're there.
All right, so I actually do have a question for you guys. How was Digimon recorded during the transition to Disney, Fox to Disney or Saban to Disney? Because I've always been wondering how you guys got to stay there.
It literally made no difference.
It made the only stuff where things made a difference were going back to Guyver, Macros, Orgus, Ambassador, Magma. Those things, they didn't have Pro Tools quite then.
So that was tough.
If you had to do the line, you had to sync it, and
it had to be perfect.
Now they can slide the audio file, tweak it in the
perfect place.
And but back then you had to be.
You could have a perfect take, and it could be off by like a frame. But they couldn't fix it.
But to answer your question, when we went from Saban and then from Saban to Disney, it was all recorded the same way. It might have been a different studio.
Okay.
Yeah,
because that was what we were wondering, like why? Because we always were curious how you guys were able to stay with that consistency, because as we know, some other animes were brought over by Disney, but they were then moved to like a mixture of like Ocean Group or other stuff. So it was like, how did Digimon get to stay with that specific license?
I don't know.
I'm so happy they did. And then they did the Digimon Try movies.
That was so fun to be able to go back after so many years.
I don't know if you guys have seen those or not. Some Digimon fans love them.
Love them. Some people are
Some don't. They're like, I like my Digimon. I want Tai to be young.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch Tai get to be my age. It's funny. They don't want Tai to be 25, 30 and deal with those. But I get it. I see it,
But it was super
what's funny is the English dub, and Sana can agree with me. Yeah. The English dub did more respect to the anniversary. They did more care making the dub than the Japanese did making those stories.
Wow.
And bringing back the actors.
Because for the Japanese version of Digimon Try, they dumped all the main kid cast, just kept the Digimon actors. They didn't keep any of the original actors for the kids. Wow. But then for the English dub, it was kind of pieced together as like, oh, we can get this actor back. Let's get them back.
Yeah, they got as many original actors.
Yeah, and on top of that, you guys, I think since Jeff was in charge yet again, they brought Jeff back to work with ADR and work on storytelling. Jeff was so aware of the differences that you made from the Japanese to adapt it to a Western audience that Jeff was like, I have to rewrite some of this because some of the characters, their story arcs were complete by the end of season 2. But Try completely acts as if 2 really didn't happen.
Well,
so a lot of characters relax.
Mm-hmm.
I have one.
Because look at Joe. He was like a complete spaz after he had that whole mature arc from season 1 to season 2. And Joe's like
the last evolution.
Yeah.
I'll tell the story. I've told it before. Dorothy's birthday was March 13th. Is March 13th.
March 13th.
And COVID hit the next day. Or that day.
I think March 13th, 2020.
2020.
Everything shut down the next day.
Was that a Thursday or a Friday?
It was a Friday.
Well, on that Monday, that was my session for Last Evolution. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do the session. There's nobody there, just one person, mask, gloves. It's just all started.
Yeah.
And I go in the booth. There's just me and
Susie.
Susie.
Yeah.
Do you know her full name?
I don't know.
She's a wonderful director and wonderful engineer. She's 2 in 1.
Yeah.
She does the engineer, the Pro Tools, and directs you, and she's really good. And she's at, what's the name?
Is she still Studiopolis?
Yeah. She's fantastic. I'm sorry I don't know your last name, Susie. God bless you. And it was me and Susie.
I expect her making an account on YouTube or something and commenting, going, "It's me. This is my
me and Susie doing this Last Evolution, right?" And they don't tell me what's going to happen. And there's a cameraman with a mask on in the booth.
In the booth.
I've never had that happen ever. And he's like, oh, we did one for Josh. We're going to do Joshua Seth because he recorded separately. And he was living in Florida, flying back to LA. And it was crazy. And we're recording you now. So I don't watch a lot of it. Yeah. But we watched that, the whole movie. And there's a little making of at the end, which I'm like, well, if we ever have great grandchildren, they can see what Tommy did back in the day. But anyway, that was a trip of an experience,
It was fun. I also needed some tissues when I watched that movie.
Yeah, don't give it away if they haven't seen it. Don't give it away.
Oh, no.
It's funny.
That movie hit me deep.
I haven't seen Kizuna
You and me
yet, and
both,
I remember
Michael.
people were like, you're either gonna love it or really hate it, and I was like, oh no. And
But
they're
I
like,
can't
yeah,
tell you
they're like,
how many.
if you,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many, and I've done other things besides Agumon, but I can't tell you how many times they've told me, okay, so that's it for Agumon, and then a year
Yep.
goes by and there's a video
Coming
game,
back.
a
Video
year
game.
something else, something, so
Yeah.
whatever.
How about this, which is our next question? The new
Yep.
dubs on the original movies.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
God, you have that?
is that
it
out?
It Crunchyroll started shipping it early. It showed up like an hour before I got on to do this interview, so I haven't been able to listen to it yet. But
Yeah, we
the
have
new
to.
dubs here.
Here's the thing. No, we should ask for a copy.
That was so fun to record. You tell him.
But I will say this.
Tell
Tell
him.
The,
Tell him.
The original movie had some crazy ass writing, which was very, very funny.
Jeff Nimoy, Bob Buckles.
Jeff Nimoy, Bob Buckles. God bless
funny
them.
guys.
They made Ty's mom who she is. But when we did the re-record, they wanted to go closer to the original Japanese. So a lot of those jokes were, pushed aside.
Oh, you know that?
She's not as funny as she is in the original. But
Well, you guys will have to. I mean, I think you're all gonna probably, even Marissa knows this. You're all gonna prefer the original because you were younger and that was the movie you grew up watching. But man, 3 people I believe have passed away, and they got actors to sound just like them. And Marissa, what's her full name?
Marissa Lenti.
Yeah, she was wonderful. She loves Digimon, and she directed it with a lot of love. It was a real fun thing.
It was
Josh is on it. I'm on it. We're all on it. I'm looking forward to seeing it because they added a half hour.
They added a bunch of stuff that was originally cut.
3. I guess the original is 3. The original is 3 different movies, right? That they threw.
yeah,
together.
what it was
the original was
2 movies and an OVA, right?
Yeah.
No, it was 3 theatrical films.
Okay.
The internet mislabeled this one as an OVA. This third one's about like an hour on its own, and these other 2 were about a half hour, and then they combined all 3 into a 90-minute movie because they had a runtime restriction because of film prints and stuff.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of weird behind the scenes, but so it's really nice to finally have not just the original Japanese version of the movies, but also now this new dub for like kind of a cleaner experience. Especially because the third movie in particular gets really hacked up.
You gotta let us know, Michael, how you like it, man, and we gotta get it.
We have to get it.
I have to talk to Santa.
I just need to unwrap it and watch it because I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, he didn't even get to watch it yet. It just showed up.
And I also told myself, if I go put this in the Blu-ray player, I'm not gonna stop watching it until I'm done, and then I'll be late. So
oh my God.
I'm really looking forward to this. Yeah.
What's funny too is I love the story about Jeff Nimoy. He did at a convention one time about how he tried to fight Saban to let him adapt the Revenge of Diaboromon film, which you guys did during the Disney era. You guys went back and dubbed it then in Disney. And Jeff has this funny story where he went in there and he's like, Saban, just hold off on it. I know you're pissed at Pokemon. I know. Just give me 6 months. Let's get that movie out. Let's make a real continuity of Digimon 1, Digimon 2, Digimon 4 the movie. Let's not do this Golden Digi-Egg one. It makes no sense. And Saban's like, no, we're doing this movie now. Like, there's this whole story of Nimoy just telling how him and Saban went back and forth over how structural-wise the story would make sense. And he's like, I don't give a damn.
Another classic entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Jeff Nimoy is a great director. He's a funny guy. Great writer.
I love
great writer.
hearing stories about him. Yeah. I've never gotten to meet him. I just love stories. I love seeing panels. I love his off-the-cuff stuff.
Billy, he's on social media. You should track him down. He also wrote, directed, and starred in a really fun romantic comedy movie that takes place at an anime convention.
It's called.
Oh wow!
It's called Famish.
Fame-ish.
FAME.
Dash.
ISH. You should all look it up,
totally
and I think you can
it.
Watch it on Hulu,
On
Amazon,
or Tubi or something.
It's on. It's really
totally worth watching.
If you love anime, you'll love it.
Is in it.
Lex Lang is in it, playing Lex Lang.
Playing Lex Lang.
Jeff Nimoy is in it, playing a version of Jeff Nimoy.
Brian Donovan is in it.
Playing Brian Donovan.
Yeah.
And it was filmed at an anime convention, and my brother Jonathan is in it. My little brother Jonathan Fahn plays a couple parts, and he helped out on that. And it's really worth.
I remember
Famous.
As you brought up
Definitely have to check it out.
as you brought up in the interview earlier, how you have like so many siblings. I remember on your Wikipedia page it like was listing your siblings, and I was like, okay, let me see if they did an anime. And it was like I was like looking which ones did which stuff are credited, and I was like, okay, this one didn't do anime, but this one does music. This one does anime. This one does stuff. So I was like looking at it, going, huh, I didn't really pay attention.
Yeah, very shy family. Yeah, the older brother is a working trombone player in New York. His wife's a bass player, plays all the Broadway shows. My little brother Jonathan he was on Naruto playing the father.
Shikamaru's father.
That's right, and he's done a bunch of things. He was back there he's the lead in Orgus, I believe, and he was back there when we all started.
We were all leads on that show.
And his wife Jenny is an actress, and my sister Melissa, you all know her, Melissa Fahn, Invader Zim, Cowboy Bebop. Everything, and her husband's a drummer, so yeah, it's a shy bunch.
Yeah,
shy.
Yeah, very shy. No, what's funny too is what was funny was when I was looking at some of the filmography, because I'm not really like aware of certain titles that were released through like Central Park Media and some of the other groups that weren't Saban or Bandai Entertainment, and we were talking about the Guyver movies at the convention, and then my friend was like, "Yo, have you ever seen?" My friend was like, "Have you ever seen Mold Diver before?" And I saw you were in Mold Diver. You were a reoccurring character in that with David Hayter, but it was just something I never knew that you had worked with him before he was even the Guyver himself.
He was,
and that.
Yeah,
that's right. They all start. I heard Bryan Cranston was also out at Saban. I think he did some voices on.
Yeah, he
too. Yeah,
He did a few Power Ranger monsters.
He did a few Power Rangers. He was the star, I believe, in Macross Plus, the OVA and movie version.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, because I looked it up and it said you guys were all like extras in like, Nurse, or it was like Nurse B, Sergeant this, and like episode.
Can you grab your Trigun? So in the late 90s, she did Trigun, and it's right behind you. In the last 2 years, the fans know, there's been 2 Funko Pops put out for her character in Trigun.
This. Well, you showed him this already.
Did I show you?
Yeah.
Is it? You seen that already? Yeah. But so our daughter says, let's watch Trigun. I want to hear Mom and Trigun. I'm like, yeah, let's watch it. So once again, we rarely watch the stuff. We kind of do it and then keep moving on.
We don't watch.
So we did for like a couple of weeks. We did 2 episodes on Hulu of Trigun. I think there's 23 or 26 episodes. We did 2 a night.
Yeah.
She's great in it. Everybody's great in it. They kill it. And every now and then,
I love it.
Every now and then, my daughter will go, "Daddy, that's you. You just got shot."
You're the bartender.
Daddy, that's you. You're the bartender. Daddy, you're in a fight right now. That's you yelling. Yeah. So I had forgotten that I mopped up. I did all the miscellaneous, which is fun when you show up and they go, "We don't really have a part for you. You're gonna do a bunch of parts." I'm like, "Great."
Let's do it.
One of the funniest things about that show was I remember when it first came on Adult Swim. I was probably in middle school. I remember just sitting there. I'm late at night. I'm just sitting there trying to get to sleep, go back to sleep, and it's on. And I'm like, cool. And then I hear this guy talking, and I'm just like sitting there, and I'm like trying to just go back to sleep, and I'm just sitting there watching it for the first time, and I'm like looking, and I'm like, oh hey, it's Adam from Power Rangers. I'm like, wait, Adam from Power Rangers? Wait, he's getting like it was the first like big role for JYB, and I was just like, what? What are you doing here? I'm like, that's one of the funniest things. And
in a couple of weeks, we're going to something called
NostalgiaCon.
We've never been.
It's
in Houston. It's supposed to. I looked at the website.
Never been to one.
There's 100 voice actors there, so
so
you could choose whatever you want: anime, video game, everything.
100 people.
But Dorothy did this years ago. See if your fans can see it. It's called the
night.
Okay, I vaguely remember that.
Christmas.
Yeah. Okay. So she's on it with Steve Blum. There's a bunch of rappers on it. They're hilarious. But the lead is Steve Blum, and Dorothy plays this spoiled rich girl.
Brat daughter.
And you know what? It's really good, and it's all in rhyme, all in rap. Wendy Lee directed it. Mm-hmm. And if you can find it, well, she's gonna bring it to NostalgiaCon.
Yeah.
But she plays the character. What's the character's name?
Evelina.
Yeah, just give him a little bit of Evelina for the holiday season.
My daddy gives me any toy I want, not just at Christmas time, but all year long.
Yeah, that's a little Evelina. Yeah. Anyway, check that out, fans. You'll love it. Mm-hmm. More questions. Come on, Billy and Michael.
Yeah, okay.
Come on now.
I guess I'm gonna jump in with a question. So here's a question. So both of you have been in shows where you've had lead roles, but also a lot of ensemble roles. Do you have like a preference to being like a lead or in an ensemble kind of cast?
You've done a lot. You've done at least 3 or 4 or 5 like leads.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't really have a preference. It's fun to do a lead role because you get a handle on the character when you do it so much. You know, when you do secondary characters, it's almost a little bit harder because you might not go in for like 6 episodes and then you're back. And then they play you the voice ref and you try to, get your headspace there again. But I like all of it.
It's fun to have a lead role because you've got a job coming up.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of nice.
Job security.
And Agumon I've done off and on for like 25 years. That's nice. But then I like mopping up. I like showing up and just, you're going to play this guy and then this guy. But, I once did something for Ezra years ago.
Ezra Weiss.
It was like it was a French cartoon dubbed that took place at a zoo, dubbed into English, of course. And I had to do like 6 different guys in like an hour. And it's kind of good that it wasn't 2 hours. It was an hour. So you're gonna find it and you're gonna do it. And then you're on to the next one. You're trying to do everything you can and not sound. So
the best thing
it's nice when you're challenged. Yeah. We've been doing it a long time, and it's nice to show up. I'm not saying we're not challenged, but it's like something like that. It made me really stand up. Like, whoa, okay, geez, what do I do?
It's also fun to do a scene with yourself. If you're doing 2 different characters.
Have you done that?
Which I've had to do.
Oh, tell them about that.
Oh no, I've had to do it a lot of different times. And it's fun. Sometimes they'll have like a block of different characters that they want you to do. And they might change one if they know that these 2 characters are going to have a scene together. Because then, you have to make sure that you sound different from the character you're talking to, whatever it is.
So if your audience was actually watching us do a recording session, and they'd think that we're nuts, probably. Like it's the loony bin. Like I did a real animation in the late 90s. So lucky. It was on something called What a Cartoon. That was on the Cartoon Network. Yeah. What a cartoon! And the thing was called the Bird and the Worm, the Boyd and the Woin.
The Boyd and the Woin.
And I was the worm. Was that it? Yeah, because I had a little hat on and a little bow tie, and I said, "She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain," like a nerdy kind of, like a nerdy guy. And I show up and I'm starting to do it. And Chris Zimmerman is the director. She went on Scooby-Doo. She's a great director. And she's like, "Okay, Tom, you're really funny, but you're like at a 3, and we need you to be at like a 10." And I thought I was bringing it, like I'm bringing it to you guys right now. So at the end of that session, man, I was seeing stars. Like I was like,
I'm sitting here. She's like saying, "You're at a 3." Like I'm sitting here like, how is that a 3?
So that was real animation. Though when you sit back and watch it, you're like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, funny. But you don't realize how much energy.
How much energy it takes.
Mm-hmm. Wow. On other gigs, where I've had to read the narration. Michael and Billy are on a podcast. This is a wonderful podcast. Sit back and enjoy. Like something like that where you're just doing the introduction to something. Well, that's easy peasy. You can knock that out all day long. That's a long.
I've done a lot of that.
She plays a lot of narration
a lot of mothers and teachers.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. A lot of people give me stuff. They give me stuff at the convention, so
It's great.
What's funny too is the reason we wanted to ask that was because obviously, Tom, your first role was being a titular main protagonist, where the show is named after technically your character Guyver, and then you took one of your first major roles that I can find is Princess Miyu as the titular character. It was for the anime.
Let's talk about that for one second.
You're going way back on that one.
Okay.
I auditioned for that. This is how long ago it was, on a cassette. That I mailed in.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how long ago.
Was the audition for the anime or for the OVA first? Because they did the OVA and then they adapted the anime that came out right after that.
I don't know. Whatever the first thing was, I got that. But here's the thing. So we're talking about being a 3, and we need you at a 10. When I went in to record Vampire Princess Miyu, the director said, okay, she's a vampire, so she's dead. So we don't want you to have, a lot of emotion. So I'm like, okay. So we do a take, and I do the take, and she's like, okay, that was great. I need you to bring it down. Okay.
Do a little example.
So we do another take. And she's like, okay, that was great. Let's do it one more time. Bring it down some more. So then I do a take. Kind of like this. Like nothing going on. And she's like, perfect. That's what I want.
Keep just go full like ASMR.
I was mortified that people would think I was a actress because what is she doing? She's not even doing anything.
Honey, you just cursed on their podcast.
No, it's
you just lost half of the nation.
No, this is the problem.
As long as we're in a PG-13 circle, we're all good.
I'm actually the one that is usually the problem. I will slip because I'm New York.
I always have to
New
tap
York.
him down on live streams and be like, no.
What's so funny is she never curses, and so that princess, what's the name of the character?
Miyu.
It still bugs her. You can see.
You
brought it out of her.
That's amazing. That's amazing because you're like
Billy and Michael more.
Because what's funny is that character, you're like one of 3 people to voice her. You came in on episode 7 or whatever. The OVA had a different one. The first few episodes had a different actress. So then they tapped you for most of the show. And it was just interesting because I just assumed you did the whole thing until I did more research because I had watched the OVA. I didn't get to see the 26 anime. But then like finding out like there were like 3 for her, I'm guessing like
she's the only vampire princess in this house, if you know what I'm saying.
That's right.
You nailed it because they kept you going with it.
Yeah. Look at the Agumon over there. Look at that.
That's so cute.
What are you guys doing?
I like I was just standing like looking for attention.
Oh,
little guy.
Get a little arm gimmick.
We gotta get.
The original one.
We gotta get to a convention in Albuquerque so we can meet that nice fella, Michael Soundcloud. And we got to get to upstate New York to meet the Taja Doyle Billy. You know.
You just gotta.
She's gonna. So we're looking through our closets lately, finding like it's a museum of faunabilia, and she just found this in the closet the other day.
I found this toy.
Sure.
It is a glow in the dark Lilymon with a skateboard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck?
What are you gonna do with it?
I don't see it online anywhere. I found it and I'm looking online.
So
they're pretty hard to come by because there was multiple versions of each character.
Yeah, okay.
Oh.
I can give a quick history of this.
Yes.
They had the Wave of 8. There was the Wave of 8 that came out, which was, I believe, all the Ultimates plus Myotismon, maybe a Dark Tyrannomon, and so there was like at least 8 or 12 of them. The base 8 Digidestin, Phantommon, Myotismon, Dark Tyrannomon, maybe Demi-Vmon, but there's like at least 8 of them. And they come in regular
Drillmon?
Oh,
the Drill.
Season 2 did not. Season 2 didn't get one. For some reason, they dropped the skateboards.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They dropped the skateboards for you guys for some reason.
Okay.
So season one got all the Ultimates. They came out, and I remember seeing them, and they were pretty frequent. And then halfway through the line, they threw out these glow-in-the-dark ones, and all the regular color ones could come out. And the glow-in-the-dark ones shelf-warmed for a while. And now they're the only things I can find on eBay on occasion than the original print of them. So, because I'm missing Lilymon in her original colors.
I have Lilymon in the original color also. I got 2 of them.
Oh, wow.
It's funny. I'm literally missing original colors for Lilymon. I'm missing, I think, Metal Greymon. But I have almost a complete collection of them that I had actually as keychains that I had on my backpack, which thankfully no one ever stole. But I had them like almost like how Piedmon had them when he turned them all into keychains hanging off my bag.
I love it.
I'm missing like I think Lilymon.
We were in Simi Valley signing. I don't know if you were there a couple of Januaries ago. Another Scott Zillner and his mustache production, and it was more Digimon cast members than I had seen in forever. There was like 20 of us.
Like 20 of us in one room. All
and I
Digimon.
Was like, why don't we all go around the nation together? Like
all
just
Digimon all the time.
Full Digimon. But anyway,
honestly, if you guys could do a Digimon con, oh my god, get these guys there, get Japanese seiyus. I'd be down.
Wow, man,
so
you got to produce that, Billy. Let's make it happen now. Let's talk. But anyway,
let's do it. Let's
Put
our money into Digicon.
At the Simi Valley, girl, you just mentioned your backpack. at the Simi Valley, a girl comes up to me, and she's wearing a backpack, but I don't even give it any thought. Then she takes it off. She goes, "This is my original middle school, what I call junior high. This is my middle school backpack, and it's 1999 Digimon backpack." I go, "What do you want me to do?" She goes, "Will you sign it?"
Yeah.
So I signed Agumon
on her backpack.
You guys are great. You fans are the great. You podcasters are the best. We wouldn't even be here without you guys.
Yeah.
So we should know that. Round of applause. Here, round of applause.
And we appreciate
Thank
you
you.
as well for everything you've done.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, so sound out. How
More
about,
questions. Come on now, more.
yeah,
That would-
do question 11. Do question 11.
Okay, question
Sal, 'cause
11.
We talked
Question
about it.
11,
We got to
yeah,
address it.
honey.
Okay.
So we wanted to ask if you had any thoughts or memories of talent that you worked with that are no longer with us anymore. For example, Robert Axelrod or Bob Pappenbrook.
Well, Pappenbrook, you get an instant. So she did theater with Bob Pappenbrook, and when we were, I guess, all doing VO, but you knew him from the theater. Fantastics, right?
No. Little Mary Sunshine.
Oh, okay. He's big, loud, great guy.
Yeah.
And I used to see him at voiceovers, and he always wanted to talk about boxing and karate and all these physical things. And I felt like around him, I was like, I'm less of a guy. I'm like, yeah. He was like, just really big and gregarious and a wonderful guy to work with, Bob Pappenbrook. And we still know his beautiful ex-wife, Debbie Rothstein. She did VO for many years, and now she runs this thing called
A Fairy Hunt.
A Fairy Hunt.
It's a
children's
show.
thing of fairies and princesses, and they do it in these parks in LA. It's very successful. She's lovely. Yeah. And she's now a grandmother because their son, who used to run around the booth, Bryce, is now the biggest thing in VO, you know. So we saw him.
He's over here carrying the legacy.
We saw him in Rhode Island about a year or two ago, and I'm like, "Bryce, Tom Fahn, Dorothy Fahn." He's like, "Wow!" Yeah! He came up. We took a picture. We took a picture, and I texted it to Debbie, his mom, and she's like, "Oh, look at you guys!" You know. So he's married and he has kids. So we definitely remember Bob Pappenbrook. I mean, him and Sorich and Epcar were like, these big guys. And,
what's funny too is there used to be a joke where everyone used to say, "Well, why you always say it on Bryce?" I'm like, I don't know. His dad had this huge ominous voice, and then Bryce is like, "Hi, I'm typical modern protagonist. I sound so teenagery."
Can I tell you something that you might know this already, you guys, or your fans may know this, but that new Digimon Ultimate movie that you just got in the mail. So Bryce is voicing Bob's
father's
role in that.
That's pretty cool.
They had to lower and tweak his voice, but it's Bryce doing Bob's.
That's kind of cool
because one
of the things I said was one of the only few times where I was like, "Oh man, Bryce is a good voice actor." Even though I'm not really a fan of Attack on Titan, when he's Eren Yeager hitting the Titan roars, I'm like, "Yay, Bob's alive! Bob's alive!"
And you got to give props to like Scott Page-Pachter, who directed us, and Kevin Seymour, who knew more about anime and was so into really bringing it and starting that Japanimation and
years.
He Kevin Seymour had me play von Folger, this over the top German Wiener Schnitzel, Hassenpfeffer, like this over the top pumper. I mean, just
crazy.
What was that?
I can't remember what it was
I can't remember it. But he was great, and he died too soon, and he should be here now talking about because people are interested in how it all.
He was great. He gave me my first boy role that I ever did in this movie called Catnapped. And I was so frightened that I wasn't gonna be able to do it. I had never done a boy voice before, and I'm like, "Kevin, I don't know if I can do this." He's like, "Yeah, you can do it. I can hear it in your voice." First one I ever did. And now, like, through the years, I've done so many boy voices.
And it's very common, of course, girls do the voices of teenage boys. They have that quality, Who passed away? She was so lovely.
Felice?
Yeah.
Felice Sampler. Oh my God.
She was beautiful. She was a soap opera actress before anime.
She was Mimi in Digimon.
Right. And she was delightful to work with. Yeah. And a lovely young actress is replacing her in the new movie who sounds just like her. And I think she's British.
Yeah.
But she grew up loving Digimon, and it was a big thrill for her. Yeah. You'll find out who that person is. But Felice was sweet. Yeah. And didn't the one guy died who had the dog at the sessions? Michael.
I don't know.
Michael.
Mike Reynolds. Mike Reynolds.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, because what's funny is another guy who worked with you guys, I think, on Power Rangers and Saban Brands was Mike Reynolds. Coincidentally enough, he passed away when we were actually getting close to hunting him down because he got older. He was not, he didn't really do conventions. He didn't do ADR as much,
Right.
and he was very old and elderly. But we had acquired interview with Steve Kramer, and we were actually asking Steve before we actually did the interview. He's like, "Oh, I still actually talk to Mike. Let me see how he's doing." And then he had to postpone the interview with us, I think, because Mike had just passed away. And what was going on though was Steve went to go get Mike, and Mike actually was considering doing an interview with us with his declining health. He was like, "Oh, these guys actually, they're like, yeah, they love you for doing all these old anime and all this stuff." And he's like, "Let me think about it." And then from what Steve explained to us was that he had passed away when we were going to do Steve's interview.
That's part of life, and you just got to be in the moment and enjoy every minute, as we enter the holiday season, and wish all your fans all the best. And you got anything? You got more? What do you got? You got some more? What do you got?
Oh yeah.
I think we just only have 3. I think 3.
Okay,
do it.
Yeah.
You can cut it and make it 2 episodes, or maybe 3 episodes. Go ahead. You can save it in post.
No, actually, we usually just cut this and throw it up. We're like, all right, here are the stuff we have to trim: the intro, the outro. If someone has to go to the bathroom, like when Bruno Patrick had to, we just cut it. No, he didn't have to go to the bathroom. His dog had to go out, and his dog was being answered.
Even more important.
Yeah, and if anyone swears, bleep that.
Yeah, we have the power of editing.
we can bleep it. We'll figure it out. I mean, people actually are like, we want to hear more curses.
Here he is.
Yeah.
I feel like that's all you have is Agumon, and then there's like Guyver.
Yeah. So that'll
funny too,
go to the next
I don't even know which version of the Guyver I emulate. I don't know if I'm copying you or the 2005 one when I do my Guyver.
I didn't even know there was a 2005, but people told me they prefer the original because it's more violent.
Yeah, violence. Violence.
I think I love the original one for the OST that accompanies the violence. But I also love the modern art style of the newer ones. Like one where I was like, I wish I could combine both casts somehow and make this super show.
I think there's room for everything in the anime world. The same. There's your
water,
honey. Here's your water right here.
Because I would love to just talk to Steve Blum, going, "Do you even remember the Guyver?" Because Tom does. Do you?
Yeah. Well, he's done so many things. I mean, my God, he wanted to be a musician back in the day. But
and now he's some anime jockey on something that died several times and had to get restarted by the fans. I don't know. It's called Toonami. I don't know.
He's a wonderful guy. Wonderful guy.
All right, let's. So the next question would be: is there any I guess which is your favorite role you played? I know there's so many. It's like picking your favorite child, but is there any that particularly resonated with you?
Yeah. For me, it would be either Meryl from Trigun or Conan from Naruto. Those are definitely my 2 favorites. And they're very different. One is very wacky and the other one's pretty serious.
Of course, love doing Agumon, but I played this guy, Rocco Bonaro, on episode 8 of Cowboy Bebop. And it's really, I saw it recently. And like I said, it's good. Like when it was done, I was like, that actor's not bad, and it's definitely not Agumon, so I like that to get to play something. I was on God of War, but I just did this, so that's pretty, My daughter was young then. She's like, "What'd you do today, Daddy?" "This is what I did."
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Sometimes that's all
I do. Yeah, Agumon and Cowboy Bebop for me right now.
Now, in addition to a role. From the shows that obviously you said you've gone back and rewatched, not just your roles, but the show as a whole, is there any series or a story arc from a show that actually resonated with you where you're like, man, that's some good storytelling, or that was some good entertainment?
I don't watch a lot of anime. I was impressed with Trigun. I had no idea where it was going.
I had never watched it.
And then she tells me that they did another Trigun in which they didn't take any of the original people but Johnny, but JYB, the legend.
Recast everyone else.
But I thought Trigun was a trip, and my sister's in Cowboy Bebop, and I'm on that one episode, and who else is on it? That Steve Blum, Bo Billingsley, Leah Sargent, Skip Skelrek, all these great people.
Additional voices.
Yeah, I know. That's the next one. That's the next one we actually want to finally watch in the year 2024, Cowboy Bebop.
Because we never really watched the stuff that we did. We just didn't do it. We would work on it and then leave it behind, and then work on something else and then leave that behind.
I think if you want to have nightmares, just watch some of that JoJo. That stuff's crazy.
That was so fun. I loved JoJo.
That is a bizarre adventure, buddy. Let me tell you. I lay out my artwork, right? I lay out the stuff at the conventions, and I've got the Agumon over here, and then I've got the Hunter. I did a couple episodes, and I got the JoJo. And if someone likes the JoJo, they really don't know. They're like, dude, JoJo. Wow. Like, they're that crowd, you know. And then you get the guy who walks up and goes, I don't know about any of these shows. I just watched the Guyver with my dad when I was a kid. I hear that a lot. That's like father, son.
That's the funny thing. I get that a lot in a lot of the anime groups or the Guyver groups where they're like, I just saw this one and I've never seen any other anime. And I'm just like, you never ever watched anime outside of the Guyver?
Yeah, no, they're like, they just love that, So there's something for everyone.
Yeah, there is.
What was that thing I did for Wendy? Cells. I played like a
cells at work.
Yeah.
I played like a disease. I played a disease.
You played gonorrhea.
Yeah, it was gonorrhea. Yeah, it was good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. That's why I got my degree in acting for, so I can play the part of gonorrhea on Cells at Work. And I'll be back in 1 minute. Look at, I lost Billy on that one. Look at,
sadly true.
And I got my degree in video production in order to edit the fact that you got to talk about your degree in acting to get your gonorrhea role.
So it all
or the fact that we have you to edit the infamous part of I hate Princess Miyu.
No, I love her, but yeah.
Yeah, no, the dude with the voice. Yeah, exactly. No, I've met a few voice actors who are like, I love that role, but I never want to perform it again because of my vocal cords. And I know what you meant when you guys say you don't ever get time to go back and watch shows, because I've met other voice actors where they have so much free time on their hands when they're not ADR, and they're like, yeah, this is all I really do, and then I just go home and have a normal life with my wife and kids. I go hunting, or I do this, or I draw, and then I'm like, so do you watch your shows? And he's like, what do you mean watch? I was in them. But don't you want to see the performance of your co-stars? No, they'll just tell me if they sucked or not. And I was like, okay.
It's kind of neat to let something go by and then you watch it later and go, huh? All right. Or you go, I could have done that better.
I think we have a good story about when we met Michael Forster, who's been in TV, movies, and anime. And he could remember certain anime roles. He's like, I remember this because it had a really cool story that I remember just watching it, maybe go watch the show, or my wife would watch it and tell me about it. But then I'd be like, oh, hey.
Of everything he'd done and photos of the characters. He's like, if I can see the character, I can tell you something about it. So we're just flipping through this big old book.
It was one of those ones where
what about
he would remember, or he goes, pick out the character I was and I'll sign it for you, kind of thing. Because I saw that there was a Street Fighter 2 V1, and he goes, I vaguely remember doing this show, but he goes, what happened at the end? What happened to him? I go, oh, you got knocked into a coma.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I was at a convention with Dorothy in Minneapolis, and a guy comes up to me. He's like, dude, how come you don't have any Crablante here from, One Punch Man? I'm like,
oh, okay.
Is that I'm like, is that me? He goes, yeah, bro, it's you. It's definitely you. I'm like,
so
I just did not remember.
And he
gets on the line. He comes back on the line. He's like, dude, this is you. And he's found it on Crunchyroll or whatever. Yeah. And I'm listening. I'm like, oh my God. And I played to Dorothy because she's the final judge. She's like, yeah, that's you. Yeah. So now if you come to my table, I've got a nice picture of a crab in his underwear. You don't see that often enough.
Tidy whitey.
No, yeah, no. Because when you first brought it up, I was like, why do I don't know this character?
I knew what it was. Why do I watch One Punch Man?
Yeah, I know you watch One Punch Man. I know it appealed to you.
Thank you, Michael, for verifying that I did that.
You're welcome.
Keep them coming. What do you got?
All right. I guess I'll do this one. Since obviously we met at Morphicon, that's how we got this whole interview scheduled in the first place. What are some favorite conventions you guys have attended so far? And do you have any particular favorite con stories?
So again, being from New York and having my brother and some family in New York and so many friends. We did one time. I don't even know if it's done anymore. It's called
Liberty City Con.
Liberty City Con, and it was a nice con, and it was in the Marriott Marquis in Broadway. And the guy's like, "Let me guess, you got to be done by 7:00 every night. That's all you guys." And because there's a lot of late night activities at the cons, but
we don't do that.
We're old fogies. We get munchies and go to the room and watch the Food Network. So, but in New York, you want to go see a show, or I want to go see my brother. I want to go,
to go.
So that's memorable. Liberty City. We would love to get to that. We'd love to get to anyone in New York. But that one. And, we've gone to, we just did Phoenix.
That was pretty great.
And it was great. What was it called again?
Saban Con.
Yeah, that was fun. It was just a lot of people, and I like it when they just the day just keeps coming. People just keep coming up to it doesn't have to be unbelievably busy, just like steady, because
that's fun.
If it's just me and Dorothy, then that's fine. We'll talk, we'll laugh, we'll giggle, we'll wait for the munchie. We want chips, They always ask us, what do you guys eat?
No, I remember there was a part at PMC that was like a part where I'm just waiting online, and it was so close to the food line. You're online waiting for food, and I'm waiting for a thing, and you and me are just like, so what's going on? You're like, you're on the food line? I'm like, no, I'm on the autograph line. Wait, that's the autograph line? I thought this was the food line. Like, you're looking at me, and I'm like...
You don't want to walk away. You don't want to miss anybody who's come to see you, but you want to eat something real quick, and you don't want to eat in front. So, Michael, how's it going? I can't eat in front of people.
Yeah, no, I just remember like you were online and you were trying, because like you're like, wait, which line is which? And I'm like, no, you're that's that line. I'm on this. Like, there was that whole thing where you and me are just sitting there talking, figuring out which line are we on.
I'd like to do one really big one. She doesn't really want to, but
I'm like, NostalgiaCon is going to be very big. We've never done one that big.
Listen, Power Morphicon, I think, was a good way to estimate a big con, because as a con goer there, I hate Mustache Man sometimes when he does PMC. Mustache Man, Zillner, he loves just filling everything in there. That's the only thing I disagree with Zillner. Power Morphicon, he will fill that bitch up, and then he'll go, Robo Toy Fest, here are 12 people, and I'm just like...
every con is different.
Con.
Sorry. And the girl who sketched these, her name was Con. So every con is different, but it's all the basic type of things. Back in the day, we didn't know. Like, they go, you could sign for 2 hours, so we'd sign for 2 hours. But now we're like, let's just stay all day. I mean, people have come to, but though when they tell you in the guide that you're only going to be there for 2 hours, then people make their effort to come see you, but you miss out on a whole bunch of people who just show up and just walking around.
Exactly. No, I hate that.
We like to be next to each other always, and something at Dorothy's table will catch their eye, or something at my table will catch their eye, and we've been at it long enough that there's something there that they can, either a Guyver.
I remember joking with Sound Out when we were setting this up. I said, man, I still kind of feel bad because I didn't talk to Dorothy so much, because what happened was you just kept you were like, Tom, you just were like, yo, Wheels, I need to know more of your Guyver knowledge, and I was like, okay, and you're like, no, just keep talking, you're just like telling me, no, just keep entertain Tom.
If I remember, that was a pretty Guyver heavy weekend. And for all the people,
it was. I remember every time I was rolling by, someone would be asking you a Guyver question. You're like, Billy, he has a question. I can't answer it.
We used to not even put Guyver stuff out, because I'm like, it's so long ago.
It's so long ago.
Who's gonna remember that? But then
that's the funny part. I've been waiting for that show to get rescue licensed by Discotek Media. I don't know what's stopping them.
That's I've heard that. And can I give a plug to another podcast that you guys would like? I was in
is the Guyver Geek?
Yeah. What a nice guy. You'd love that guy. His name's Donovan, and he just wanted to talk Guyver, man.
The whole time.
Keep going. What do you got? You
exactly.
get
let's go. Our next question is, do you have any advice for upcoming talent entering the industry? You mentioned acting classes.
Class.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? It's so we do have advice.
Yeah.
Because we are always asked this. It's different now than it was when we started. On every level of social media is now. I mean, I used to hand when I was in a show, I'd get a postcard made and I would address it and mail it. Now Everything is social media. It's online. But yeah, if you want to do voiceovers, I would say I tell everyone who wants to do voiceovers, go on Google, put in your zip code, a +, and voiceover class, because there's always an actor teaching a voiceover class.
And you've got to take a class. You can take it online too. A lot
if
of
you don't get one,
teach online.
Yeah. Oh my God, Steve Blum and Joshua Seth, they all teach really wonderful classes online.
But the website that I always tell people about is from D. Bradley Baker, who does voices of, I think, like all the clones or something. I don't know. He's done a lot. And it's called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com.
And that one.
Oh my God. It's like an encyclopedia of what to do. If you're starting out, if you're intermediate, if you're advanced, everything you need to know.
So Google, if you want to take one in your area, all over the United States. I'm sure there's an actor. Look online. Bob Bergen, the voice of Porky, Joshua Seth, everybody. Who did I say? Steve Bloom. Everybody teaches a class online. And I want to be a voiceactor.com. And take an acting class or get in a play or get in a show, because it is acting.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
But like there was a guy at our table the other day in San Diego, and he was doing a lot of funny voices, and I'm like, you're good, you're entertaining me, but that's not going to pay anything.
But you got to take an acting class.
You got to get out there. This is good. You've got talent, like both of you guys, especially Michael with that Barry White. Hey, what's going on? Yeah. Let me hear a little bit of the alphabet, Michael. Let me hear it.
The A, B, C, D.
Okay, I know the rest.
Great.
Yeah. You got a nice voice, though. Anyway, does that help? Did we help at all?
That sounds helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's all. Most of our questions. I think the only other question we really just have is there anything you want to promote by the time this interview comes out? Like say, hey, there's this. We're going to be at these shows in January.
When will this air?
We're intending this for December. We're hoping mid-December. So the Digimon movie will be out. They will be out. The collection from Crunchyroll.
We might have done NostalgiaCon already, but because it's December 6th, 7th, and 8th.
And then in January,
this would be right after. Yeah.
Okay.
In January, we're in a really nice con in Southern California in Long Beach. It's called.
It's called Anime Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And it's in Long Beach.
But it's in Long Beach by the Queen Mary.
4 days.
Yeah.
9, 10, 11, 12 of January.
Yeah. And if not, Dorothy is on all the social medias. Tell them.
Oh, yeah. I'm at Dorothy Fahn on Twitter, at .Fahn on Instagram. And I just joined Blue Sky. I'm Dorothy Fahn, at Dorothy Fahn on Blue Sky. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Also, we're on that, where do you sell your wares sometimes?
Oh, Streamily.
Yeah. All your fans know about that. Yeah. We might do like a holiday signing on Streamily.
I don't know if we're going to. No? I don't know if we're going to
I love it. Like, let's do it. No. Like,
every now and then we do a signing on Streamily. So and that's kind of fun. Yeah. But I'm not on any social media. What do you think of that? Should I be on something? Tell me. What should I get on? Tell me.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I think don't you think it's a little nicer if you got to work a little harder to find me? Just find Dorothy.
Yeah.
And find me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because you have so much energy. I feel like you'd be like, nah, I can't even pay attention to this. Like, you got so much energy. Or it'd probably like somehow like make you go there all the time. You're like, I'm online. I'm crying.
It maybe somehow way down deep in my inner Tom Fahn, I know that I should never go on any social media.
Don't do it.
No, I feel like if we got you on the internet, it'd be like, why did Tom Fahn become the greatest internet troll ever? It's like he's just all over the place.
You know what?
He just roasting everybody.
When you came up to our young Billy, when you came up to our booth, talked to us, you got the knowledge, you're a handsome devil, you got the beard, and you said podcast. I assumed you were here in LA. I didn't know you were back east.
No, I'm an East guy because I have to put in a lot of effort just to go anywhere these days because it's such a pain to go out there. It really is. I commend your effort, and if you come out again, bring that guy Michael. Yeah. It's been a pleasure to meet you, Michael. You got the knowledge, you got the calm Zen-like quality, you got the Algo Man on the bed, you got the Barry White voice. You got a lot going on there, Michael.
Thank you.
It was really.
We thank you guys for joining us in that, and so like always for our people So
Yes.
you're welcome. I mean, it was great having you guys. Like after meeting you guys, I was like, oh, it's a lock in. They're gonna do this interview with us. I mean, I'm still waiting for other people to get back to me. I'm still waiting for agents or whatever to sign off and go, yeah, you can talk to him or they can do this or that. But no, I
definitely
really am
appreciate
grateful.
your time in doing this. Is a
Yep.
absolute blast to have this interview.
Awesome. Well, we wish
Yeah, it
everybody
was really
happy
fun.
holidays. I can't do that. I'll try. I
I
can't.
can do that.
Yeah, it took me forever to figure that one out.
I have this on my computer, my little Captain Kirk right here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but-
so for our audience there, I just wanted to do a nice outro. So for our audience there, we thank you guys for joining us. We thank people watching for joining us. We'll see you guys next time. As you already know, to follow Hero Club, it's Hero Club for life across social media. The website is hero-club.com because a nightclub in the Philippines got the URL before us. And I digress. We'll see you all next time for whenever our next interview
Happy
is.
holidays, everybody. Happy holidays.
Thank you so much.
It's not a good one.
All right. Okay. You hit the recording. Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, the recording has started, so we got it on.
Billy
All right, and then I'll.
Michael and
Yeah.
Billy. Oh yeah.
All right, and then I'll do the introduction and lead in.
And if you need a theme music, let me know.
All right.
I knew this was gonna go off the rails in the right way. I was like, Sada, when you meet them, it's just gonna go 0 to 60. Don't worry, you're gonna love it, Sada. Sada was like, what? I'm like, don't worry, we got this.
Oh, that's a cute Agumon
Yeah.
sticker. All right.
All right.
Ready to go? You can do the
Yeah.
intro.
Hello there. Yeah, I was just about to. Sada, you're like, are you good with this? And I'm like, I'm trying out the corpse, Sada. I'm trying out the corpse. All right. All right. Got to put my game face on. Got to put my.
I
Game
have
face
no game face. This is it.
exactly.
The
That's
Billy
the
and
problem
Michael
here.
Show. The Billy and Michael show.
We're gonna have outtakes out now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have good outtakes. Be like, hey guys, here's the outtakes. Check them on Twitter. All right.
All right.